Pay attention. It's a standard present value equation.
You can't go in the room with that piece of paper. It's got Bernard's handwriting on it.
Don't let that worn-out hat fool you. Underneath it is the sharp mind of a future tycoon. Meet Bernard, a young black boy who shines shoes for a living. But that's not what he's really after. Every morning, he sets up his little stool right outside the bank, not for convenience, but with precision. He chooses this exact spot so his customers, wealthy white bankers and businessmen, will unknowingly talk finance right in front of him. As they chat away, he listens.
Hey, what are you doing up there, boy? You spying on these white people's business?
Every tidbit of advice, every deal discussed, he scribbles down in a little notebook as soon as they walk away. Bernard isn't shining shoes for tips. He's here for knowledge, the kind that opens doors. Even as a child, he has one dream: to become a banker. But this isn't just any time or place. It's 1939 in Texas, where racism isn't just normal, it's law. His father tries to shield him from heartbreak, telling him the banking world isn't made for people like them. But Bernard's eyes don't waver. He doesn't care how high the wall is. He plans to climb it. 15 years later, Bernard is all grown up. He moves to Los Angeles with his wife Eunice and their children, hoping for a fresh start in a place where the discrimination, while still present, isn't as suffocating. They can only afford a cramped back room in a relative's house.
Thank you, sir, but I came here to try my hand at real estate. Now.
But Bernard makes a promise to Eunice. They won't stay there for long. He dives into real estate.
Excuse me.
As he scours the city, he notices something others don't. The black neighborhoods are overflowing, but white areas still have vacant properties. The demand is there, the supply is there, but racism keeps the two sides apart. Bernard sees opportunity. One day, he finds a rundown apartment owned by a white landlord.
Talk to him about your idea.
No way am I doing business with that man.
The building looks neglected, but its location is gold, right next to a black neighborhood. Bernard offers a deal. I'll give you $30,000 now, and another $5,000 once the place is fully rented. The landlord is intrigued but hesitant.
It's not the way I do business. I'm sorry.
This sounds risky. As Bernard leaves, he spots a calendar in the man's office with a bank logo on it. A plan sparks instantly. He walks straight to the bank and waits for the manager. The secretary refuses to help him, of course.
I'm sorry, I misspoke.
But Bernard waits outside for hours. When the manager finally comes out, Bernard stops him. I have a deal that'll benefit one of your VIP clients. All I need is a loan. The manager dismisses him instantly. Later that night,
Bernard, there's a phone call for you.
Bernard gets a call from the landlord. Did you try to use my name to get a loan? Busted. Bernard apologizes, but surprisingly, the landlord doesn't scold him. He's impressed. You don't give up, do you? He decides to co-sign the loan. Bernard gets his first bank loan and buys the property. Now comes the backlash. As he's inspecting the building, an old white lady sees him and snarls. What are you doing here? Renovating, he replies calmly. Workers like you should be careful, she sneers.
Very clear about your lease when he sold me the building.
I'm not a worker. I'm the owner, Bernard answers. She's stunned. Furious, she calls the police. But Bernard is ready. He pulls out the deed.
Miss Cooper, an apartment 28 is not like you working in the building.
The cops back off and the old woman stomps away. Days later, she moves out. She refuses to share a building with black tenants. Bernard wastes no time. He rents her vacant unit to a black tenant. Just as he predicted, the demand is overwhelming. The building fills up fast. True to his word, he pays the remaining $5,000 to the former owner. Now the real magic begins. The old landlord is so impressed, he offers to become Bernard's business partner. Bernard chooses the properties and manages the numbers, while the landlord handles the paperwork and deals with white sellers who'd never knowingly sell to a black man. It works like a charm. White sellers stay clueless, and Bernard and his partner split the profits. Bernard moves his family into a spacious new home. He finally gives Eunice and the kids the life he dreamed of. But Bernard's strategy isn't just clever, it's genius. When racism tries to block him, he doesn't fight it head on. He rewrites the rules. He doesn't lash out, he outsmarts. His weapon is patience, his shield is knowledge, and his goal? Rational economic power. But life, as always, has a twist waiting around the corner. The landlord, his friend and business partner, is getting old, and fate is about to throw Bernard his next major challenge.
Barker Garrett Properties. I have no reason to sell.
After the original owner's death, his shares in the company are passed down to his wife. But this woman is openly racist, especially toward black people, and she has no intention of working with Bernard. Instead, she mockingly offers to buy Bernard's shares for a pitiful sum. If he refuses, she threatens legal action. And in that era, with a white judge presiding over a dispute between a black man and a white woman, who do you think the law would favor?
With a different lawyer.
But Bernard isn't one to be bullied. He chooses to take the battle to court. To win, he needs someone who can vouch for his partnership with the former owner. He thinks of the bank manager.
I need to see Mr. Reed.
But to his dismay, the man has already taken the widow's side and now avoids him entirely. Heartbroken, Bernard finds himself standing alone in that polished bank lobby. Every inch of that building reeks of systemic racism. Just walking into the bank as a black man is enough to earn scornful stares. But instead of giving in, Bernard starts to hatch a daring plan. Inside that single building are 4 banks, 4 institutions that all shut their doors to him. And in that moment, an idea strikes like lightning. I'll buy the building, Bernard thinks, and let's see who dares to look down on me then. He brings his idea to Joe,
Tallest commercial building in downtown Los Angeles.
I want to buy it.
a fellow black real estate developer in LA. At first, Joe is baffled. Downtown property is outrageously expensive, and no black man has ever owned land there. But the more he listens, the more he sees Bernard's brilliance. This isn't a wild dream, it's a strategic masterstroke. If Bernard owns the building, the banks won't be able to deny him a loan. They'll have no choice but to play nice, give him insider access to the market, and help him grow his business. Joe, inspired and intrigued, agrees to help. But they have a problem. No white person will sell to them directly, so they need a face, someone white, trustworthy, and willing. Bernard already knows who it'll be. Matt, the contractor who's been helping him renovate properties. Honest, driven, and ambitious. Matt just lacks polish. So Bernard and Joe train him. They teach him golf, upper-class etiquette, math, real estate, everything he needs to blend in with the elites. And Matt rises to the occasion. Soon, he's confidently calculating property values mid-swing on the golf course, like a young, sharp entrepreneur. At one of these golf sessions, staged perfectly by Joe, Matt meets the man who owns the bank building. They chat, they bond, and eventually, Matt is offered the chance to buy it. But he's nervous. Negotiating at this level is out of his league. No problem. Bernard steps in. He counts the lights in the building at night to estimate how many offices are vacant. He crunches the numbers, rental income, operating costs, profit margins. He builds a financial profile of the building and drills Matt on every figure until he knows it cold. When Matt finally sits down with the owner, the man tries to bluff and inflate the building's worth. But Matt shuts him down with precise counteroffers and facts. Even the owner's accountant is stunned. They think Matt is a financial prodigy. They can't fool him. In the end,
How do you do this in your head?
There's no...
Bernard buys a $2.4 million building for just $1.56 million. Now, whenever Bernard walks through that lobby, every bank president stands up to greet him. That same bank manager who once brushed him off? He's speechless. With newfound respect from the financial sector, Bernard and Joe's real estate empire explodes. They shatter the racial boundaries that divided Los Angeles. Black families start moving into white neighborhoods. Opportunity spreads. Eventually, Bernard and Joe are even welcomed by the Vice President of the United States. In 1963, Bernard returns to his hometown in Texas to visit his father, Britton. Over dinner, Britton tells him how proud he is.
I'm proud of you, son.
The next day, Bernard walks through town with his son and stops in front of the bank where he once shined shoes as a boy. Texas was the most racist state in the country back then. There, he sees a young black boy shining shoes, but only for white customers. The sight hits Bernard hard. That used to be him, and the boy's quiet obedience stirs something deep in him. He realizes his mission isn't finished. His success has to mean something for others too. He visits Joe and tells him, "We need to buy the mainline bank here in Texas." Joe thinks he's insane. Racism in Texas is ruthless. But Bernard is determined. He lays out a compelling strategy, and Joe once again gets on board.
All right, I'm in.
They bring Matt back, using him as their white frontman. Together they prepare for one of the biggest moves yet, meeting with the powerful Florence family, who owns the Texas Bank. Despite Florence Jr.'s growing suspicions, the deal goes through. Sr. sells the bank to Matt and his partners, allowing them to officially acquire Mainland Bank. Bernard wastes no time. He jumps in, working tirelessly to help black families in the community get access to fair loans. His mission is clear: give his people a real shot at home ownership and wealth. And for a while, it works. People get homes. They get hope. But Florence Jr. isn't buying it. He starts digging into the bank's approved loans. One day, he follows Matt and unexpectedly runs into Bernard and Joe. He doesn't waste time, confronting them with a letter from the U.S. Treasury. An investigation is coming. In just 1 month, the feds will be crawling all over their operations.
What do you want?
Rattled but not broken, the trio regroups. Matt has a bold idea: buy another bank and move the riskier loans there. They consider purchasing Marlin Bank, but Bernard's worried. Who's going to oversee it? Matt offers to run the new bank himself. Bernard isn't convinced, but eventually agrees, on one condition: Eunice will keep an eye on things. With the new bank in place, Matt wastes no time. He meets a lawyer and starts signing loan contracts left and right. But soon, the cracks start to show. Florence Jr. calls Matt. Clients are panicking and pulling their money out. Then a federal examiner shows up at Marlin. To stay close, Bernard goes undercover, literally, dressing as a janitor during the audit. But it's no use. The examiner finds serious issues with the loans. Bernard is stunned. How did these even get approved? They eventually uncover the truth. Florence Jr. had orchestrated the whole thing. When Matt rushed into running the new bank, he skipped key steps, including vetting the lawyer. Turns out, that lawyer was Florence's plant. Through him, the bad loans were slipped in. Now in deep trouble, Bernard and Joe tell Matt it's time to walk away from Marlin. But Matt isn't letting go. He acts behind their backs. Joe finds out the next day and rushes to the bank with Bernard. They confront Matt, and Florence Jr. watches it all unfold, smug and satisfied. But it's already too late. The federal examiners are revoking Mainland's license. As Bernard and Joe leave the building, the FBI arrests them. Bernard tries to protest, but it's hopeless. Later, in a meeting with their lawyer, Bernard and Joe learn that their case is wrapped up in a web of racial politics. Meanwhile, Matt meets with Senator Mullen, who makes him a deal: testify against his partners in exchange for freedom. That night, Matt makes a decision. He calls someone: Bernard. The next day, Matt testifies before the Senate. Later, Bernard gets the same offer from Mullen: back up Matt's testimony and walk away free, or stay silent and go to jail. Bernard refuses to sell out. Instead, he speaks from the heart about the discrimination Black Americans face daily and why he fought so hard. It's powerful, but it doesn't change the outcome. Bernard and Joe lose everything. They're sentenced to federal prison. And Mainland Bank? Florence Jr. buys it for a fraction of what Bernard and Joe paid. Matt Steiner? He walks free. No charges, no consequences. Years pass. Bernard and Joe are finally released. Eunice meets them and is stunned. They seem happy. But how? Joe reveals the truth. They own side-by-side homes in the Bahamas. Eunice is speechless.
Called me the night before
How?
he testified.
Turns out, the night before testifying,
It's Matt.
Matt's call wasn't to a lawyer.
I told him
It was to
do what he had
Bernard.
do, but
He apologized, told him about the deal, and Bernard asked him for one favor. Before the government could freeze everything, Matt helped move assets. The story ends on a surprising note. Though they lost their fortune, Bernard and Joe's properties were crucial in the fight against housing discrimination in LA. And even after all that, they still have two mansions side by side in the Bahamas.